Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Demopod, the Demolition podcast. That is Barry Smash Darsow and Bill Axe Eadie. I'm your host, Ryan Maher, and we are back with a very special episode, one that we have not done anything like it so far because we have a special guest that I'm going to be bringing in just a little bit. But before we do that, I have to address a mistake that was made on the previous episode. And technically, I mean, if we want to really be technical, I'm not one to pass blame. It's actually Smash who kind of led us down this road. And it was my job to probably steer us back on course, but I didn't. So, Smash.
Ryan, I'm a terrible person. I had to be dreaming or something of Bill and I on a video game that I was playing. I could have swore it. But, I've been hit on the head many times and everything, so I guess I was wrong. I guess it was just crushing me on it. I could have swore Bill was on one of the games.
We're going to give you a pass.
Hopefully somebody's going to come on and say, hey, I played that game too.
Yeah, well, we're going to give you a pass because I know some people had some fun with it with some messages that I received after the last episode. And I can't even make fun of you too hard because I'm looking at myself in the lighting and I'm seeing my farmer's tan right now. So it's like I can't really give anybody a hard time when I'm looking this ridiculous right now. But no, just to clarify, we acknowledge the mistake. Axe and Smash were never together in a stand-up arcade game called Superstars. It was Smash and Crush that were in WrestleFest, and Axe and Smash were also a part of WWE 2K12, but who cares about the past? Let's talk about the present while paying tribute to the past, because Axe and Smash are together once again in a brand new wrestling video game that is available on every major console. We're talking PS4, PS5, all Xbox consoles. We're talking about the Nintendo Switch, Steam on the PC, and the game is RetroMania Wrestling, which is produced by Retrosoft Studios. It came out a number of years ago, and it is getting rave reviews by everyone who plays it. Wrestling fans and non-fans alike, all the gamers are loving this. And we have a very, very special guest. We have the owner of Retrosoft Studios, the man who made it happen, Mr. Mike Herman. Please give him a big Demopod welcome. All right. Here he comes. Yeah. Mike, hey, what's up? Good to see you.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Very good.
So that was a great introduction, Ryan. Making me feel good.
I'm excited because, I remember when the game was first announced. And I remember all of the attention it was getting. And I loved the concept of how you guys were marketing the game when it was being released. You called it the spiritual successor to WrestleFest. I thought that was brilliant the way that you did that, because this way you couldn't get in any trouble with any of the powers that be. But I have such fond memories of playing WWF WrestleFest in the arcades. I would go to the Jenkinson's Pavilion Arcade in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey, and there would literally be a line. And there's only certain arcade games that garnered that much attention. I mean, years later, you'd have Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, but WrestleFest was the game that everybody wanted to play. And it was so ahead of its time because we had the console games at the time, but they were nothing like the graphics that you saw in WrestleFest. Yeah. And I feel like when you guys started showing some of the screen grabs of what RetroMania was going to look like, I was like, wow, they're not lying. This is the spiritual successor to WrestleFest. Sure. Tell us what gave you the idea and how everything came about.
Well, like you, I don't know. I don't want to admit how many quarters I stuck in WrestleFest back when it came out. I mean, it was crazy. Luckily, a couple friends of mine worked at an arcade, so I got some free tokens, and they're out of business now. Maybe because they gave away too many free tokens.
Because of you, it's your fault.
Yeah, I played it a ridiculous amount. I'm definitely still to this day. Well, up until RetroMania was my favorite game of all time. And then when it came out, I could emulate it on the PC when emulation became a thing, and I could play it at home. But I was always waiting for the sequel, and it never came out. No. They never made another one. They made a iPad game in 2011 or 2012 called WrestleFest, but it was terrible. And I was at that point is when I decided, well, I'm sick of waiting for it. I'm going to make it myself.
Awesome.
So that's kind of the genesis of the idea was I got sick of waiting to make a sequel to the game I loved in my when I was a teenager, and I decided I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, and I mean, you came out with an original roster of 16 wrestlers, some independent talent. There's a story mode. There's about 50 different match variations from what I understand. Tell us a little bit about how you got these two guys involved, because they are brand new downloadable content and people are raving about it.
Yeah, so to go back, like my background is accounting and finance software, so not video game development at all. Mm-hmm. And I think I told this to the guys when I spoke to them. If you get creative in accounting, you'll end up in jail. Right? So I had to find another outlet to get into, and I always wanted to make a game, so we got started. But I didn't know anything about licensing. I didn't know anything about contacting wrestlers or anything like that. And then so eventually I started, I'm like, let me give it a try. And I just started sending emails to like all these bookers online. They claim they represent everybody, all the guys out there. Some of them a little shadier than others. I might have gotten taken for $1 here or $2 with some promises, but it's a learning curve and part of the process. So originally at the time, I think I went up to Bill and Barry at an autograph signing, and I think it was in Hamburg, PA. It was where Jimmy Snuka got hit with the coconut. I think it was the same arena that happened in.
Hamburg Fieldhouse.
Yeah, it's a Hamburg Fieldhouse. And Bill said, well, I can't, we're not in a good position. He's like, we're not sure. The rights are kind of tied up. We're still working on it. But he gave me his number, and he said, if it ever changes, give me a call, or check in with me. And then I saw Matt Cardona did a couple figures with them, I want to say like 3 years ago, that came out 2.5 years ago. And as soon as I saw those figures, I go, oh, the licensing must be good. And I still had Bill's number. I gave him a call, and the rest is history.
It's wild to see how this has grown over the years, because it was kind of like a grassroots movement. I mean, I know that you were involved on several independent wrestling shows where you actually brought an arcade version of the game and fans had a chance to play before it was released. Who was the first guy that you had on board? The first guy that said, you know what? I want in on this. You can have me. You can use my character. Yeah. I mean, obviously that had to be a huge moment.
Oh yeah. It was actually Animal before he passed away.
Wow.
So I started big. I'm like, let me try to get the guys that were in the original WrestleFest. Mm-hmm. So Animal wasn't too hard to get. I find some contact. Eventually I found the right one and started talking to him, and we were able to work out a deal that was reasonable, good for both of us. And once I had them, I kindly felt like if I went to other guys, they're going to say, well, who else do you got? You know what I mean? Because I have no track record in video games at all. I'm not known throughout the wrestling community at all until this happened. So, one, they got to trust me to do it. But the other thing is, I paid up front something, so it wasn't trust me, you'll make money. They got something up front. You know what I mean? So I think that eases people a little bit, knowing that I can at least give them something up front and then some royalties down the road. But I think that helps. It helps people give you a little bit of trust involved. Well, this guy's putting his money on the line. And then, I think I came off pretty professionally to get everybody signed. But once I had the Road Warriors signed, it was a little bit of an easier task to say, well, I got the Road Warriors. You want to join them? You know what I mean?
And Mike, we get asked everywhere we go, hey, you want to do this? You want a comic book? You want to be on this and this? So, you coming forward at first, it's kind of like, whoa. But like you said, you start getting guys like the Road Warriors and, a few other guys, and it's like, well, yeah, this is a legitimate thing here now, and we're very glad we did sign with you, because what a great game.
It is a very fun game, and I'm assuming then, Barry, you called Bill up and said, hey, I got approached by this guy in Hamburg. Or Bill, were you with Barry?
Bill
I was there, yeah. We were there together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool to see in this day and age because, we have talked about, I mean, this is, I believe, episode 10 of this show now, and our first show with a guest. So welcome, Mike. That's pretty cool. But, one of the recurring themes that we get, and it comes up in every episode in some way, shape, or form, is the comparison of Demolition and the Road Warriors. And it's only natural because they were both at the heights of their respective tag team divisions around the same time. And we always talk about how there's been so many blunders over the years, whether it be WWE or any major professional wrestling organization, where sometimes dream matches never really came together. We never got Hogan and Flair in WWE when it would have been the biggest thing ever. We never got Hogan and Austin in WWE when it could have happened. But we never got Demolition and the Road Warriors the way that we really wanted to get Demolition and the Road Warriors. But right now, you can just play RetroMania Wrestling and make it happen. So I love the fact that you can blend so many of these talents from yesteryear and the golden era of wrestling, and also, put them in against a Johnny Nitro or put them in with Tommy Dreamer. I love that one graphic of them walking down the aisle together and Dreamer's got the cane. And I understand just this past weekend, because we're recording this on September 18th, big event this past weekend where you guys were all involved and showcasing the game, right?
Yeah, so we were all in Connecticut, and Ryan, let me tell you, to get these guys to Connecticut, so many demands. I got to take out the red M&Ms
and also PTSD
of their bag.
A lot of bad memories in Connecticut. No, I'm just kidding.
Then I had to rent this cart they used in WrestleMania 3 to carry them from their hotel room to the table where we're staying. It was ridiculous, but no, obviously I'm kidding. Yeah, it was a great experience. I got to talk to them a decent amount over the weekend and get to know them a little bit. And, it's great when for me, it's because I grew up a fan, and it's great. They say never meet your heroes and stuff like that. But, signing them obviously was a business thing and getting them on board. But to get to know them and to know that they're genuinely two good guys, I don't want to ruin the reputation of Demolition too much, but, I guess I met the face side of Demolition. I haven't met the heels yet. It was a great weekend. I had a lot of fun. The fans just loved coming up and talking to them. And their interaction with the fans was great. Barry had to put the beat down on some 5-year-old kid playing the game. So
the guy kept beating me. I didn't like it.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun in Connecticut. The fan reception was great. And like you said, the just overwhelming response. And I'll tell you, I didn't mention this. When we first launched the game back in 2021, the number one requested team, and I'm not just saying this on your show, was can you put Demolition in, right? And it's part of it was because Smash and Crush were in the original WrestleFest game, but people wanted to see Axe and Smash in it. And nothing against Crush, but like that was my height of Demolition fandom was Axe and Smash putting the beat down on Strikeforce. But
yeah, and I feel like there's been so many guys over the years that have been, through the years rehashed through the 2K games. But like we discussed, other than WWE 2K12, there was no other way to have Axe and Smash together. I want to ask you, is it gotten to a point now where you have talent that's reached out, like maybe even guys that are under WWE contract, or they've stumbled your way and they say like, hey, listen, I'm under contract, I can't, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. And I don't expect you to mention names or anything, but I mean, has it gotten to a point now where there's like requests coming in like, hey, we really want to be a part of this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I got the most requests are, since we do have independent wrestlers in the game, I would say the most requests comes from independent wrestlers, but I have spoken to a few that are interested, but unfortunately, due to contracts or other promotions, aren't allowed to be involved with it. But I'll tell you, we did, especially because during COVID, we did an Indie Mania social media tournament, and that's how one of the independent wrestler Warhorse won. That's how he is in the game as a roster member. He won the independent Indie Mania, as we coined it, social media tournament.
I remember seeing that on Facebook.
Yeah, so I would say mostly it's mostly independent guys coming in, but I'll tell you, anyone I've approached at conventions has been interested and is willing to hear me out at this point. And especially now, not let alone the Road Wars, now I can say Demolition's in it as well. And then I have the Rock and Roll Express is included in this DLC with Demolition. So right there is like 3 of the probably top 5 all-time tag teams.
3 of the top 5 all-time, and I would say definitely the 3 biggest of the 1980s.
Yeah.
Now if you could just get Midnight Express in right there, I mean, for lack of a better term, you got the 4 horsemen of tag teams. It's wild because Barry, you said your grandson is big into gaming. Bill, do you have similar situations with the?
Oh yeah. Gaming? My youngest grandson's really into it, and he was excited when I was telling him about it when I got home. And I want to compliment Mike, top shelf professional, treated us great, first class. And I was very impressed. Barry and I were both talking. That was our first, I'd say, quote, strictly gaming convention. Mm-hmm. And the fans and the people that attended that came up, everybody was so polite and so enthusiastic. And we really enjoyed the whole weekend. Yeah. And going around and seeing all the activities, and the people came up and the comments, all the positive comments they made about the game. And I'm terrible at games like that. Barry is much better than me. He tried, but he got the crap beat out of him by some of the fans. But we did have a lot of fun.
I think what we'll have to do on a future episode is maybe have like a play along where we actually have a rehashing of the Royal Rumble, except in a one-on-one match. We have Axe versus Smash.
Right.
And, we'll see what happens. As far as the downloadable content, though, I just wanted to know, going forward, how does that work? Is it just wrestlers that get added, or do we add different stories? Do we add different match types? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's really the one of the advantages. You get people who like physical media, and the kind of the death of the cartridge or the disc bothers people. But and I'm kind of in that old school mindset a little bit as well. But one of the advantages of the digital age from a video game standpoint is you can keep adding stuff to it. So the DLC that we just released that Demolition are in, and the Rock and Roll Express and Magnum TA and Macho Man Randy Savage are all in this DLC that we just released. In addition to that, we have 3 new stages in the game. We have a brand new tournament mode, a la WrestleMania 4 is in the game. You can also do a tag team version of that tournament. We have a new mode called House Show Mode that you can try to get a high score. And that's what we gave away a Nintendo Switch 2 at the convention to whoever could get the highest score in that new mode, House Show Mode. And then just making improvements to some of the animations throughout time. So it really gives us an opportunity to keep improving the game. And we went from 16 wrestlers, as you said, when we launched the game. Now our roster's at 25. We have, 5 different game modes, probably more than 50 match types. We added new handicap matches that we didn't have in there before to this DLC as well. So the feature list is pretty long. And the reception has just been phenomenal this first week since we launched on Saturday.
Yeah, Mike, I just got to say, first class, you bringing us in and everything. We had a great time. I know you gave me a couple of games to give to the grandkids, and I spoke to one of them today, and his name's Maverick. And I said, so Maverick, how'd you like the game? He goes, what a game. He says, but there's one mode in there. I got so mad. I could not win. I couldn't go. And I said, well, are you going to be able to get through it? He goes, oh, I will for sure. Then my youngest one is screaming at him because he wants to play, and the older one won't want to play. So they're 13 and 9 or whatever they are. I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but anyways, they're like at the perfect age for this, and they love the game.
And I think it's really cool too that this is a wrestling game that's developed by a wrestling fan. I mean, and I think that makes the possibilities endless for future DLC, because I'm sure that there's things that have popped into your mind, whether you're watching something from old time wrestling or if you're watching the current product, maybe even where you go, oh, wow, I could add that to the game. Whereas, the corporate big games, not taking anything away from WWE 2K, they're, successful in their own right. But, it's like, all right, we got to put out a new game every year. I mean, this is your baby. This is your dream come true, and you can always add to it. And I think the other cool thing is that with signing the independent talent and bringing in some guys, you don't know who's in that game right now that might go on to become a huge star. And I think a perfect example of that in a lot of ways, Nick Aldis was NWA World's Heavyweight Champion in your game, and now he's a general manager on WWE TV every week.
Yeah, and you got also, we signed John Morrison, who's Johnny Retro in our game because you got to change his name everywhere he goes, right? And then he was on WWE TV. At one point, we had Matt Cardona. We had signed him when he got released, and then he came back. At one point, we had AEW. We had Matt Cardona in the ring, Brian Myers, and Warhorse, all 3 people in our game.
Yeah.
And then now Jeff Cobb, it goes on and is in WWE now. He's in our game. So I know how to pick. See, people sign with me, they become stars. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, so when you're creating these games, and let's just take our finish. I just watching it. Bill came off, hit the guy with it. So how do you come up with being able to do that? I mean, it looked just like we were doing it on TV. It was phenomenal.
We have really talented artists that do it frame by frame. I basically take clips of the moves online, like the real clips of you guys doing that move. And then I have a pixel artist who goes through frame by frame and has to animate every frame of that animation taking place.
Wow.
And that was a big knock in, where's the finisher in WrestleFest? You know what I mean? I know Bill wasn't in it, but no axe, and you just had Crush. But, to me, that was a big omission. And that was like the first thing we did is put that move in the game.
Well, it's unbelievable. It looks just like us on TV giving the finish. It was a good job on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I had the idea, but the artists really, the pixel artists we have for the game are just so talented. And it's the one thing good about this art style that we have of the game. It holds up over time because some of the early 3D games look terrible nowadays, but the old 2D stuff still looks good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of timeless, this art style, and it just, we can make it look so good.
It's funny that you mentioned the finishers because, that was one of my biggest gripes as a kid, having the old school NES 5-6 years old, and we had, WrestleMania, which was, so brutal because, again, you look at it in the pages of WWF Magazine, the ad, and you're like, oh, wow, this is going to be great. And then you get it home and you're like, ugh. And then when the Super Nintendo came out, we got Super WrestleMania, and it was like a different roster for the Super Nintendo version and then a different version for the Sega Genesis version, but there were no finishers. And you're like, what's the point of having Jake the Snake Roberts if you can't hit the DDT? And much like you just said for WrestleFest, what's the point of having Demolition if you can't hit the decapitation? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So to be able for it to be a spiritual successor, same type of graphics, that same timeless 2D artwork, but here we've improved it. You can do this. So
I'll tell you, Demolition has like all my QA testers were all saying it, and it wasn't necessarily by design, but when we were going through and doing their moves, they have the best moves in the game. Like we got multiple double team moves that they used to do in the game, and they all look great. And they look. I was giving it to one of the developers. I had to show him images. So like, oh, this is brutal. Like when he's looking at what I wanted him to code in the game. So I'm really happy with it. It's just we keep, and I'll pat my team on their back because, they do the coding, they do the artwork, and they execute, what I want in there to perfection. And it just really is a lot of fun to play, and it looks great.
I got to ask this question because I know that if I don't, people are going to eat me alive on the comments on YouTube. Will there ever possibly be an online mode? I'm sure you get asked that a lot. Anything along those lines where, somebody in Belgium, who apparently we're very big in Belgium, can play with somebody in Australia. Apparently we've got a lot of listeners in Australia. Anything ever talked about with that down the line? So
keep in mind, I'll tell a little bit of a quick backstory here as we do this. So when I decided to do this was 100% and still is 100% passion project. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if I was going to make a dime on this game, but I was going to make it. So the biggest person I had to get sign off on was the boss of our house, my wife.
Of course.
And instead of getting her, how much money are we going to lose for you making your childhood video game that you want to make, right? So there were some things like online, there's a lot of cost involved with that. So we didn't design it from the beginning. The other big omission that people will say is create a wrestler. we didn't do that just because the amount of additional animations we would have needed to add would have been a crazy amount more, probably 5 times what we already have in the game, which is a lot. So there's certain features that are tough to go back and add. Like making a video game in some regards, it's almost like making a house. You can't go back and put a basement in after you're working on the roof. You know what I mean? So there's certain things you can't really do easily. But, with that said, there's still a lot we can pack into this game, even without online play. And really where it shines, if you have a couple friends over, you're playing multiplayer, couch co-op. We support up to 4 players locally.
Awesome.
And there are some ways to play it online on Steam. There's some Steam share stuff you can do with it, but nothing out of the box.
No, hey, I mean, you know what? It's one of those things where you were able to take something, I don't want to call it a relic, but I guess that would be an appropriate term. You took a relic from the past and you put a fresh coat of paint on it, and you're putting it out there for a new generation of fans that they can appreciate, like you said, that timeless artwork, the timeless legends, as well as always wondering, like, who's going to pop up next? Now, do you have the DLC scheduled? Like, okay, on this month, we're going to do it, this many wrestlers. I mean, are you constantly trying to update, or how's that work?
That's a little bit of a knock on us. We do take a while to you can't rush perfection, right?
No, of course not. No.
But we have an idea of what we want to do.
Great.
We're still ironing out we got a few bugs. Barry, so we get a bug online, and Barry's like, "Hey, Mike, you gonna take care of this? Like, we got this." He saw something on Twitter. He was catching it, but I'll tell you, we posted those guys playing each other, and it's like skyrocketing. Everybody's like watching Axe play Smash in RetroMania while we're at the convention. And it's hitting like 20,000 people watching that video. So it's great seeing the fan reaction like that. But yeah, we have ideas. We're going to see how this one goes. Make sure we iron everything out that needs to. But for the most part, very few bugs were found in the game, and we've already, it's 6 days after launch. We put out our patch today actually to fix some of the stuff that the fans were bothering the fans. So we're quick to act on that part. As far as the next DLC, we'll plan it once we're kind of stable with this one.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely smart because, I mean, I think we've seen over the years, I mean, I'm not a huge gamer. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've turned my Xbox on since the pandemic ended because I'm bad. I mean, I'll play every day for 6 months and then I won't touch it, for a while. So, I mean, it's like an addictive personality thing. But, we see it now with Grand Theft Auto 6, right? People are like chomping at the bit. They're like, well, damn it, why? They're delaying it another couple of months or whatever. I mean, people are waiting and whatever. So I like your approach of, hey, look, this is what it is. I'm being honest. I'm being transparent. I think that's the way to go because then no one's setting themselves up for any type of disappointment. So I got to ask Barry or Bill, whether it's yourselves or your grandkids, how many times have you guys beaten the Legion of Doom cleanly, 1, 2, 3 in the center of the ring since you've been added to the game?
I haven't played it yet. But I'll tell you what. One thing I want to mention about Mike that I was impressed with when the fans came up, he took time to answer questions and interact with everybody that came up to the booth, and he was enthusiastic about answering their questions, and because we all know, even in wrestling and whatever business, successful business, you have to please your customers, and they all want things, and he never turned anybody away. So I give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a testament too, right? So wrestling fans and video game fans, there's a lot of crossover appeal. But as I alluded to earlier, I mean, there's not really any other situation that I can think of off the top of my head where fans could actually speak directly to a developer, the guy who owns the studio, who also happens to be a huge wrestling fan. So it's cool. I mean, I could just imagine the length of the conversations you're having with these fans at conventions because they not only want to know about the animation, they want to know about the pixelated, the developers, all that, but they also want to know, like, hey, you ever going to get this guy in the game? You got
yeah, I've heard that once or twice.
Yeah, like, I mean, so that's pretty cool that you can really bring both of those worlds together with your knowledge. Whereas someone like me, I'm a casual gaming fan, but I don't know anything about the technical. I mean, hell, I have a hard enough time getting this thing set up every other week. So I think that's really cool that you can blend those two worlds together for the fans. Do you have any other appearances at conventions coming up that you'd like to plug?
I mean, nothing in the immediate future right now. Probably in the new year, I would love to get together with these guys again. We were talking about possibly somewhere in the near future doing that. But it's funny. One thing I want to go back to, you said how many times have they beat the Road Warriors? In their contract, it says they cannot get beat by the Road Warriors in the game. They automatically kick out. Even though the Doomsday device, they automatically kick out of it.
And our punches really get laid in on those two against the Road Warriors. They look good.
And that's like the M&Ms too.
Right. Yeah, the red M&Ms got to come out.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you, those who are the guys that were playing to win that Switch? They were good, and they played every day. They played when we were out there.
Yeah, so we gave away, like I said before, we gave away a Switch, and it ended up, what Barry's talking about is there were these two guys that I would say they probably spent a good 2-3 hours a day over 3 days at the convention trying to beat each other, and they kept going back and forth. Oh, and I didn't tell you guys this. So after you left, I was cleaning up, and they were still there.
Oh,
and it was like 5. The convention closed at 5. And they were waiting to get thrown out because the one guy was trying to set a high score, and the other guy was still trying to beat it. And eventually, I had to politely ask him to leave.
Well, then the one guy, his wife or girlfriend or whoever it was, kept saying, "Come on, we gotta go. I haven't seen this yet." And he's like, "Come on, get away!"
I got to ask you, Mike, I mean, because you are a fan of obviously gaming and professional wrestling, and you're a developer of a professional wrestling video game. Aside from WrestleFest, your favorite teenage arcade game, were you a fan of any of the console wrestling games on any generation console?
I mean, they were all pretty abysmal, honestly.
Even No Mercy on 64?
No, you know what? It's funny because those came out probably right when I was maybe at the tail end when I was in college, or maybe even after.
Yeah, those were my teenage games. Yeah.
Yeah. And the amount of time I could spend gaming, unfortunately, went to, not unfortunately, but went to other things. So I didn't really have as much time to sit down and
girls and beer. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're college.
But yeah, I mean, those are definitely, they're renowned for being really good. I always kind of preferred the 2D stuff, the look of it over the 3D, just personal preference. But I'm not discounting. Those games were really good. I did since play them because I needed to. Because I feel like I'd be a fraud if I'm developing a game if I never played No Mercy. You know what I mean?
Of course. And I mean, there's a lot of also too. There's some of the reviews I read. Now, again, reviews are subjective. On a lot of the positive reviews about RetroMania, they also mentioned Fire Pro Wrestling. How it also reminds them of that. And I remember hearing stories about Fire Pro. And it was always like, oh, this is a Japanese video game, but they basically took all these American wrestlers and changed their names so that they could get away without copyright. And then I believe there was a PlayStation 2 version of that game that was released in America. So was there some inspiration also?
Oh, absolutely. I played a lot of it. I played that one. I actually imported the one for the Saturn and didn't learn Japanese, but had a printout so I could translate the screen on the piece of paper. To play that one. So yeah, it's heavily inspired by Fire Pro as well.
That's so cool. Because it's got the arcade version, WrestleFest, the arcade style, but like the grappling systems and stuff like that, to have that be based off of Fire Pro. That's so
we gotta go to a convention over in Japan once we translate it into Japanese. That's what I said. I want to tell you, the three of us we need to go to Japan and promote.
Well, I told Mike over the weekend that if he gets that translated, it'll explode over there.
Now, were you guys, I mean, Bill, I know especially because, I mean, you had an extensive career in Japan. Are you in any video games over in Japan as the Mass Superstar or Remember the Machines that you can think of?
I don't believe so. No, I don't really believe so.
Nothing he got paid for.
No, exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, you do hear about that sometimes, where there's a lot of times where they'll take the likeness of a guy and put it in their game. I mean, Fire Pro was kind of notorious for that, but I really think that that's cool that you were able to take two of the most talked about games, WrestleFest, of course, from the arcade, and Fire Pro, and kind of really put your own spin on it, and just basically create a whole new game from the ground up. So this DLC package went out, and you can get the game for pretty much all consoles, right? It's available on Steam, PS4, PS5, the Nintendo Switch, and you can go to RetroManiaWrestling.com. And we're going to have Dan have that flash across the screen. And I also know that coming up over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff involving that game, and you can be following RetroMania on Instagram, RetroSoft Studios, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, all the social media platforms, RetroSoft Studios.
And any questions or comments you have coming up. But right now, what we want to see is everybody go to RetroManiaWrestling.com, order the game, and we want you to talk in the comments about some of the fun you're having. And it doesn't have to just be with Axe and Smash. I mean, you can beat up Axe and Smash, especially if you want to beat up Smash after he made that mistake on the last episode. You know what I mean? Just drop us in the comments. Let us know what's going on. But yeah, I'm just really excited that we are in a place where a fan who has a background and a passion project can take something that was a dream and get it out there to the masses the way that you have. And I love the fact that you attached yourself to these two guys, because as you stated in the beginning, there's a lot of characters out there. There's some shady people, but if you deal with these guys, you're going to be in great hands, and they're going to steer you in the right direction. I'm really excited to see what's going to come over the next months and even years, because you're saying that you could just keep adding on forever, right?
You never know.
So, Mike, do you have any of the covers with you that you could show on the screen, or?
We can. I'm sure. Yeah, we can. Well, hey, Dan, put them up right now.
There you go, Dan.
So you can see them. We'll have them.
Yeah.
I'll have them put them up there. I'll get them the images so we can be showing them right now as we're talking.
I was really impressed with all of the stuff, and over the weekend, Tommy Dreamer was there. We were good friends with Tommy. It was great to be with him too. So, what a great show.
Tommy's a great guy, and he looked really natural in the animations that I saw of him walking down the aisle with you. And I said, like, wow, this could have been in the ECW arena in 1998 and 1999. And that's what I love about these games and being able to mash up, because it's not, you used to read in the aftermags back in the day, what a dream match, who would win if this person went against this person. And now you can actually play that out on your TV screen, and really just see those dream matches come to fruition. I'm looking at some of the animations right now on my phone. There's a great one of Axe and Smash versus Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express. That's another dream match. I mean, we got Demolition.
Well, actually, I didn't even know this. I think the guys were telling me that match happened at some point.
That was our last match we had.
Really?
Yeah, I got my new knee put in, so I was out of commission for quite a while. And then Bill calls me up and he says, "Hey, Barry, you want to wrestle?" I said, "Bill, I can't get in the ring anymore." He says, "It was against the Rock and Roll Express." I went, "Oh, really?"
Wow.
So what was the town? Clayton, North Carolina?
Yeah, outside of Durham.
Yeah. So it was George South and who else was a partner? It was a 6-man tag. It was... Anyways, it was a fun match, and I didn't have to do anything, so they protected me, and it was just fun to be with those guys.
No, they are such great guys. I mean, I'm looking at these animations now. I mean, and I'm sure Dan's going to put some of them up on the screen. I mean, the face paint is down to a science. Ricky and Robert look just like they did in Crockett Promotions in the 1980s. You guys look just as great as you did during your prime in WWE. What a cool game. And of course, we're seeing right now, and I'm sure Dan will get it up on the screen, the Demolition decapitation finish. And it looks like from the picture that I'm looking at right now, Robert Gibson is on the receiving end of that right now. What a cool game. I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the future. RetroManiaWrestling.com. You're going to be hearing a lot about RetroMania Wrestling in a lot of future episodes of Demopod, the Demolition podcast. And I'm really excited to see what the future is going to bring. And also, too, keep showing up to those conventions. I know you said, Mike, in 2026, you have a bunch more cool stuff coming up, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. And also, too, I really want to get that match going. Axe versus Smash. It has to happen. And I think we need to do it. I think we need to do it on the podcast.
I think I'll lose that one for sure.
My drop still hurts from the last time he hit me.
Well, look at that. Look at that, Smash. Axe will put you over. He said it right there. We heard it. So, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. RetroManiaWrestling.com, RetroSoft Studios on Instagram. Search and Destroy You on Instagram. Ryan Maher Comedy on Instagram. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you spread the word about this podcast, not just on YouTube, but it's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all your favorite podcast platforms. Mike, I hope that the next time you have something big you want to announce for the game, you'll do it right here on Demopod. Can we get you to agree to that?
Thank you very much. I would love to do that.
That would be really, really cool. And please feel free to drop in anytime. RetroMania Wrestling. A lot of fun. Make sure you download it. Make sure you play it. This has been Demopod. That's Axe Smash. That's Mike. I'm Ryan Maher. Have a good night, guys.
Take care, Mike. You're a good man.
Thanks, guys.